Welcome to BaseballGuys.com. I'm your host on Around the Horn, Ray Flowers. I had a very interesting series of discussions last night at the Baseball Guys Twitter account, which can be found at twitter.com/baseballguys, @baseballguys. I started talking about Mike Trout and got a cavalcade of responses from people claiming that Mike Trout's the greatest player of all time and what he's doing is he's going to continue doing and he should be the #1 pick in fantasy baseball in 2013, all this kind of thing. And I wanted to respond because, again, 140 characters are kind of limiting. Just want to make a few points. Number one, what Mike Trout is doing right now is something no one in the history of baseball has ever done. Ever. If you take his numbers in the 5 standard fantasy categories, batting average, home runs, RBIs, runs scored, and steals, he would be on a 162 game pace that no one has ever matched. Ever. Ever. Ty Cobb, Barry Bonds, Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth, Ted White, throw it out. No one has ever matched that. Ricky Henderson is the only guy that came remotely close. And even his numbers in his best season don't come close to the pace Trout is on right now. I mean, Trout's hitting .348. He's on pace for 37 home runs, 110 RBIs, 160 runs scored, and 66 steals. Now, the last time someone scored 160 runs, well, it was before 1940. It was Lou Gehrig in the 30s, okay? So that's just one part of the 5 parts we're talking about here. The last time someone did that was in the 1930s. Remember that, folks. Just remember that as we get going here. Scouts will tell you that Trout was a dominating talent. They would tell you that, hey, look, this guy's a chance to be a once-in-a-generation player. He has a chance to make the Hall of Fame. That I didn't ever read a report from a scout. Didn't ever hear anyone involved in the baseball front office that thought Mike Trout was a 60-steal player. Just they didn't think it. It just wasn't the case. Has he done it to this point? Absolutely he's done it to this point. And maybe he will continue to do it. But again, no one in the Baseball Brain Trust thought he was a 60-steal player. Now, there's some issues beyond what's going on besides the obvious that I would hope people would understand, though clearly from the response on Twitter they don't. Here's some things you need to understand. His ground ball to fly ball ratio right now is 1.19, basically league average. His 0.45 strikeout to walk strikeout ratio, basically league average. So those are 2 pretty major indicators that are league average. Now, he's got a line drive rate that's almost 25%. Players do that from season to season, post 25% mark, but they don't do it consistently. No one has a 25% line drive rate season after season. He's got a batting average of balls in play that's .398. Now, people will get that high. There's always someone each year that pushes .390, maybe .400. But you do not consistently put up a batting average of balls in play of .400. In fact, it's only happened like one time in the last 10 years. That rate's not sustainable. He's got a 21% home run to fly ball ratio. League average is about 10. Okay, 9 to 10%. So he's doubling the league average. Players do obviously post numbers of 21% from season to season. But that is a big boy number. That's not a guy who's hitting 25 to 30 home runs. That is a big boy, I'm hitting 45 home runs type of number. Now, again, I don't know of any scout, any baseball personnel person that ever thought that was Mike Trout. 30 home runs, sure. 40 plus? I don't think that was in the cards. Now, maybe Trout does all this. Maybe Trout exceeds all expectations, and maybe everyone's been wrong. Maybe he's even better than the stupendous level that he was placed at coming into this season. But remember a couple of salient facts that I haven't mentioned yet. Number one, this guy hit .220 with 4 steals last year in 40 games. Let me repeat that. .220 with 4 steals in 40 games. And secondly, he's played 128 games in the bigs. 128 games. So everyone out there that thinks he can continue what he's doing right now, that thinks he will do it next year, that thinks he is the #1 pick in fantasy baseball, you're taking 128 games of a player's professional career and extrapolating out that he's going to be doing things that Albert Pujols has never done, doing things that Miguel Cabrera has never done, guys that are all-time greats and going to the Hall of Fame. So just remember that when you get too excited, in my opinion, about the stupendous Mike Trout, he can't continue what he's done to this point. Let's get to some other things in the Baseball Guys here on Around the Horn after my little diatribe on Mike Trout. Let's start out on the hill with Aroldis Chapman. You take out the interleague play with Aroldis Chapman this season, he's had 48 1/3 innings against the National League. In that time, his ERA is 1.9. No, not 1.9. 0.19. In 48 1/3 innings against the National League, Aroldis Chapman, 0.19 ERA. That is mind-boggling. In addition to that, 16.77 strikeouts per 9 innings, which would be the greatest mark in the history of baseball for any guy that's ever thrown 25 innings. His total of 100 strikeouts is more than Jordan Zimmerman, Matt Garza, Wandy Rodriguez, Kyle Loesch. He struck out more guys than those starting pitchers. He has been amazing. He's been better than anyone could have expected. He has been the dominating pitcher in baseball in 2012. Huston Street, he is right on his tail. Now, he doesn't quite have the strikeout total, so you can't say he's been as dominating, but Huston Street has pitched 35 innings this year, 0.77 ERA, a whip of 0.54. In 35 innings, Huston Street has allowed 11 hits. 11! He's working on a 20-plus scoreless streak right now. He has done everything the Padres could have absolutely hoped for from him. The only issue with him, as it always is, his health. His health. A little bit of a setback, but when he's been on the hill, wow, he has been amazing. Another guy who's been amazing when he's on the hill is Rafael Betancourt, the closer of the Rockies. Now, he's only got 19 saves, and some people might be a little disappointed in that total, but he's been very good for the Rockies this season, as he always is. He's got a 3.9 strikeout to walk ratio, which is excellent, but it's actually below his career rate. I'm going to drop some knowledge on you since we're talking about all this history here today at BaseballGuys.com. In the history of baseball, amongst pitchers who have thrown at least 600 innings in their career, how many pitchers have a 9.5 strikeout per 9 rate and a 4.5 or better strikeout to walk ratio? In the history of baseball, 600 innings pitched, 9.5 strikeout per 9, 4.5 strikeout to walk ratio. One man, Rafael Betancourt. I know. Chris Perez is really struggling in the bullpen for the Indians. The last couple of times on the hill, 2 losses, 2 blown saves, allowing runs, hits, all that kind of stuff. He's still 29 for 33 on the year in saves. He's got more than a strikeout an inning, and he's been rock solid. Other than these 2 outings here in his first outing of the season, in between he's been great for the Indians. Now there's whispers, there's nothing official that he might, lose this spot. I think at this point he's still locked into that role, but the Indians do have Vinny Pastano, 1.29 ERA, a whip of under 1, more than a strikeout an inning. If Pastano is on waivers, go pick him up right now, because not only can he help you with what he's doing, there's a chance, even if it's a small one, that he gets into some ninth inning work for the Indians. Aramis Ramirez, one of my favorites, one of the most consistent power producers in baseball in the infield. Started out slowly, people got nervous. He started out slowly, told people not to panic last year, and he came around and had a great season. He's doing the exact same thing again this season. Last 53 games played, he's hitting .338, 10 home runs, 40 RBIs. Well on pace with 70 RBIs right now for a 9th straight season of 83 or more RBIs when he's played 120 games. He'll get it. He'll give you those runs. He's going to be very good. That average is going to be near 300. Now, the power's down a bit. He's got 15 home runs. He's usually a 25 home run guy. He needs a bit of a spurt here to not be a 20 home run guy this season. But he's been very, very good, as he always is, for the Milwaukee Brewers. And then finally, David Murphy, not Daniel Murphy, the 300 hitter for the Mets, but David Murphy, the outfielder for the Rangers. Long been one of the best 4th outfielders in baseball. A guy that can give you double-digit home runs and RBIs and hit you in the 270, 280 range. Well, Ron Washington came out and said, look, I don't care the name on the back of the jersey. I don't care if it's a lefty or righty pitching. David Murphy has done well enough right now that he is going to be my everyday left fielder. It's really good news, obviously, if you own Murphy. He's available in your shallow mixed league. You might consider picking him up. He's batting over 300 with 9 home runs, 41 RBIs, and less than 300 at bats. This is a player that can, again, hit 280 to 290 very comfortably. He's got 25 home run power. He can steal you 15 bases. He could be that type of performer the rest of the way if Ron Washington follows through and makes him that everyday starter in the Rangers outfield. I'm Ray Flowers, BaseballGuys.com. Thanks for joining me on Around the Horn. Talk to you all again very soon.